Hi, and welcome to the City Show. We've got two special guests today. Ryan Dipzinski, the newly appointed as of this morning, Fire Chief of the City of Lebanon, and Dennis Walbelig, am I saying that correct?
That's correct.
And he's the Fire Inspector. Now, congratulations, Ryan.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Now, Ryan, prior to being the chief, you were a battalion chief.
Correct.
Is that a rank or is that a position?
It's a rank and a position both. We have three of them currently, or two now, but we had three currently in our division. They are the shift commanders responsible of all the day-to-day operations. Our fire department is divided into three shifts. We have unit 1, 2, and 3. So each unit day has a battalion chief that runs the shift, the day-to-day operations, the schedule, payroll, things like that.
Now, many people know this, but I think there's probably some out there who don't know that we've got two stations.
Correct.
And they're 41 and 42.
Correct.
What do the numbers mean, and who determines which station you're stationed in?
The numbers are county assigned, and so they're assigned throughout however which way the county is assigned. We have 41 through 45, I think.
Yes.
Is that right? Yeah. So if we were to grow more and add more stations, we could go up to 45. So Station 41 is our brand new building that we just finished building, which is 601 North Broadway, right next to the fairgrounds. Mm-hmm. So we just opened that 2 years ago. We've been loving it, living in it, trying to make it our home now, which has been great. We staff anywhere from 8 to 10 there on a daily basis. We run the battalion chief out of there, the fire chief, the administrative assistant, a lieutenant, and then firefighters, and they run an ambulance, ladder truck, cross-staffed, and then a fire engine. And then Station 42 can go anywhere from 2 to 4 people, depending on how many people we have on duty.
And where is Station 42?
Station 42 is down by the Ohio State Patrol Post on Bypass 48.
Do they have certain territories that each station takes care of, or do they respond to the same fire?
So if we have a structure fire anywhere in the city, all the units will respond. We have a first in district and a second in district, depending on where the call is. And it is split in our dispatch and CAD system by roads. Right now, it's split kind of by the bypass. So anything east of the bypass is Station 42, and west is Station 41.
Are you permanently in one station or the other, or do they rotate?
Depending on staffing, we'll rotate. The battalion always stays, fire chief always stays, and that's pretty much it.
Now, in charge of Station 42, is that a lieutenant?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yep.
And how many lieutenants do you have?
We have a total of 6 lieutenants right now, so 2 per shift.
Now, is the battalion chief a lieutenant, or is that a rank, as we were saying before?
It is a rank.
Okay.
So we are, you apply for and earn that rank. So it is kind of, if a lieutenant were to apply for the battalion, it would be a promotion.
Now, you did mention that those are the 2 we have now. Are they sufficient right now?
As far as?
As far as being able to handle the workload?
The 2 stations?
Yes.
Right now, yes, we're getting busier, and it's the nature of the beast. Our staffing is low, however, we are trying to accommodate with what we have and do the best job that we can with what we have. But with the future construction, the residential communities coming in, all the businesses that are coming into the city, a third station would benefit the residents, absolutely.
Now, Dennis, you are the fire inspector.
Correct.
Now, are you part of the Lebanon department then?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Do you go on fire calls?
Being the old guy in the station, I don't make as many fires and fire calls as the crews do. The other part is my job responsibilities are to go out and do inspections during the day. If I'm close, I'll respond and assist where needed. And then I'm also the fire investigator. So if it is an actual fire, I'm assigned then to investigate the fire as soon as they get it out and under control.
Now, as being a fire investigator, do you have to go special training for that?
Yeah, I went to the State Fire Academy. I have that. I'm a member of a regional arson seminar committee. and we attend a lot of schools. The education requirements now for fire investigators with continuing education is extremely extensive.
Now, as an inspector, which buildings in the city do you inspect?
We inspect all public buildings. If it's a multifamily residential, we'll inspect the public areas. We only do single family homes or 2 and 3 family homes if it's requested by, or the actual living area in a multifamily home. We only do that by request only, and normally it's for a foster or adoption inspection.
Okay. What's the number one issue you find when you do your inspecting? What are places lacking?
Most likely it is lack of fire extinguishers, having them serviced properly. I will say that's probably the number one. That exit signs are out. Most of the violations that we see are minor in nature, and it just takes a few extra dollars to keep your business up so that people can exit and get out safely.
Now, Ryan, I read that 70% of all the calls a typical fire department has is the medic unit. And we're coming up with a very popular time for celebration, but also I'm guessing the medic unit goes out quite a bit because of the 4th of July.
Correct.
What kind of rules and regulations govern what people can do with fireworks?
So I'll leave this up to, there's been some law changes this year for fireworks and what kind of fireworks that Ohio state residents can light off in their home or outside of their homes and in their yards. So Dennis, if you want to.
Basically, you can set off fireworks now on 10 separate holidays in the state of Ohio. There's the whole list is on the State Fire Marshal's website. But for the 4th of July, with that coming up, you can shoot off the weekend before, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and then the weekend after the 4th.
I didn't realize that. There are certain days you can shoot off, but if you do it on another day, that's breaking a law?
That's correct.
Okay.
And then you can only shoot off what we call 1.4G fireworks, and that is because there's just a smaller amount of explosives in the firework. And you can buy those typically at Walmart, Myers, General Dollar, those types of stores. And they actually notify us that they're receiving shipments of that in their stores. So if you're getting it there, that's fine. If you go to a fireworks store in the state of Ohio, such as Rosie's or Phantom or something like that, they can only sell you 1.4 anyway. They're not allowed to sell you what I call high test fireworks that exhibitors would use. Now, if you buy them out of state, that may be another problem.
Yes, now, because the laws are different in Indiana and Kentucky?
Correct.
Okay, now, are they more lenient as far as what you can buy?
Yes, they are. You can buy what we call 1.3 fireworks, which are exhibitor grade fireworks in the state of Ohio. And in the state of Ohio, if you're going to shoot 1.3, you have to have an exhibitor's license. You cannot store those anywhere on your property. That have to be brought in from a manufacturer the day of the exhibit. And you have to have a permit to do that exhibit. The permit is signed off not only by the fire chief, but also by the police chief. And you have to have $1 million liability insurance and then a license to actually exhibit those.
Wow. Now, what does the G stand for? Is that grams of gunpowder or something? Or?
No, there are so many designations of explosives that they just A, B, C, D, and when it hit fireworks, the letter was G.
Okay. Now, well, you've already talked about what fireworks you can legally set off. What about who can set them off?
You have to be over 18, not impaired by alcohol or drugs, and you either have to be the property owner or have permission from the property owner to do that.
Well, you know, I was reading over some of this material before the show, and the thing that came to mind to me was sometimes the idea of let's light fireworks comes after you've had 1 or 2 beers, which is unfortunate.
Yes.
Now, there's also a legal limit as to where spectators can be.
Correct. Anything that's an aerial shell, that means it's going to go up in the air. You have to have at least 150-foot clearance from all structures, people, and everything like that. If it's on a ground display, you know, sparklers or just a fountain or something like that, where it's not going to leave the ground, you can get up to 50 foot away. So a lot of times, I mean, you can buy something and you're not really looking at how far. I'm in my backyard and the house was within 15 feet of where you shoot off your fireworks.
Yeah. Well, that's 150 feet, 50 yards, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so that's quite a bit. Now, there's also, is it a suggestion or is it part of the law about what kind of surface you set them off on?
It's pretty much a suggestion. You need to have it needs to be stable.
Yes.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to shoot them off of a floating platform in a lake very much, but it needs to be stable. You also have to look at the area around that. How high is the grass? If you're in a field 150 feet away and the grass is 3 feet high, especially with the drought conditions that we've been having, you're going to end up causing a grass fire. And then that's going to present another problem for you.
Now, I heard that sometimes during drought restrictions, that fireworks are canceled. What kind of, I know we've had some little rain over the weekend here, but we still have pretty much a dry summer. Are we okay as far as drought conditions go?
Right now we are. The fire marshal has not issued a red flag warning. If we get a red flag warning, and we'll get that through the National Weather Service and they'll tell us, you know, there can be a red flag warning in Cleveland because they've had some more severe drought, and we've had rain clouds down here, and we're not in a red flag warning. Even though it's dry, we'll be okay this year.
Now, you did say there are other holidays where you can fireworks. What other holidays are there? I mean, I can't think of 10 holidays. Mother's Day, Father's Day. I mean,
well, you have New Year's Eve. They allow you to shoot off New Year's Eve, Memorial Day. I believe Juneteenth. There's a couple, Labor Day, they're allowed fireworks. There's a couple other holidays I'm not familiar with, but they're holidays a lot of times for other religions and things like that, that they're allowed to shoot off fireworks.
Okay. Now, what happens if you shoot them off on a day that's not designated? What possible fines or punishment do you have?
Well, we really, if we have somebody injured or you've created property damage in some way, shape, or form, and we're there, we will end up doing an investigation, getting with the state fire marshal, and I believe that it's at least $1,000. I'm gonna have to find out, and a first-degree misdemeanor. But I would have to find out exactly how the state would want to prosecute that.
Ryan, do you have any recollection of the fire department going out on calls because of an injury of fireworks or something of that nature? Or
Injuries, yes. It happens more times than we like to count. And sometimes it's just because of negligence or making jokes or something like that. So it really just depends, but it does happen, absolutely.
Now, looking over the rules, many of them seem to be common sense.
Yep.
But like, don't hold it in your hand, or don't
shoot
try
it
to
at
relight
people.
something that went out.
Yep.
And don't point it at somebody.
Yep. Don't point it at people.
Yeah. Now, I don't, I hear them I don't know, none of my neighbors apparently shoot them. Well, neighbors I can see shoot them off. But what are the ones that make the squeaking sound? I hear those all the time.
Bottle rockets or the
Yeah,
Roman candles.
Roman
or
candles.
those
Okay.
ones.
And the young kids should not be lighting those at all.
No.
No.
Okay, you have to be. Now, I did see one, you mentioned 18, but I also saw 21. Is there certain things you can be 21, or is it 18?
I don't believe that you can get your exhibitor's license at 18. You have to
Okay.
be 21.
Okay. Now, you were talking about our display for Independence Day on the 3rd,
Yes, sir.
and that's going to be at Colonial Park West,
West.
and the fire department will have a presence there.
Correct. We shoot off, it's actually shot off in east right? Or
North.
north. That's right.
Okay.
I was getting confused. So we shoot off in north, and then that's where we will be, and that's where the fireworks display is, and then we have the festival and everything else on the other side of the tree line to keep everyone safe.
Okay, I understand.
Yep.
Okay. Is there anything else we should let people know about fireworks and prevention of injury or to people and to property?
I think the biggest thing that people have a tendency to forget, they're fun, they're pretty. Everybody likes to see the colors and things like that, but they are explosives. You know, would you give your 10-year-old dynamite to play with? You know, or would you give them other types of explosives to play with? Pretty much that answer is going to be no. Well, these are exactly the same thing, except that we just call them fireworks. It's a different explosive. It's not dynamite, where we're using a nitroglycerin or ammonium nitrate and fuel oil type stuff. This stuff is black powder, and it will take off hands. There are fatalities. Part of the other problem that we have is don't disassemble the fireworks. We have people who do disassemble fireworks trying to make a bigger firework. That's not a good idea either. And what will end up happening is that a small spark with black powder or that's in the firework can make it very, very devastating in your garage, in your basement, or something like that. They're not. And that's the hardest part that we can get, that they're not toys, they're actually real explosives.
I think that's the biggest thing, is just to get people to understand that fireworks are great. They are a lot of fun, but they are not toys. And that is the thing, is people, you can go to Walmart and buy them, any of them, but they are still as dangerous as a lot of things can be. And they're not, you have to be responsible with them.
Now, I also remember reading that you can't set them off on any school property or city-owned property or parks like that.
That's correct, because you have to have the permission of the property owner.
Okay. Now, does that include the street? Or is that one of those things that happen but technically you shouldn't be doing?
Technically, you shouldn't be doing it.
Okay.
Technically, if you're going to have fireworks in your show, they should be in your yard.
Yeah.
Where you are responsible for them. That's it.
Yeah. I imagine this sort of season, although you're enjoying it, you're also wondering, well, I hope no one's really stupid this week, and doing something as to where they're sending them off and what have you. Now, I also saw that there was a rule about sending them off near livestock. Not that that's necessarily a problem in Lebanon, but there are certain things you have to do there.
Correct. You know, they don't want to scare livestock. I know our communication center gets a lot of phone calls over this week that people are setting off fireworks, it's scaring their dogs and whatever. Unfortunately, there's not much that the communication center can do about that. But when you're talking about livestock and what it can do to a farmer's livelihood, that is something that they have to also.
Well, you mentioned dogs. I know. This is, if you're a dog owner, this can be a very bad part of the season.
Very
for
stressful
you.
nights.
Yeah. Now, moving from one type of fire to another, this is a very popular time for fire pits. What kind of regulations do people have for fire pits on their property in Lebanon?
Basically, if you can buy the fire pit at any one of the hardware stores and you do not let the fire get out of the fire pit, you can keep that on the ground. If the other thing, if you are doing cooking or just a recreational fire to sit around a fire when it's a cool night or something like that, it can't be any bigger than 3 by 3, and you have to have some type of water source next to it just in case something does get out of hand. But basically, you know, you can put bricks around there just to make sure that you are doing it 3 by 3, and that's it.
And so how far away from the house?
You have to be at least 25 feet away from the house.
Okay. Now, there's no, in the fire pit then, burning fires within the city limits is legal as long as it's an approved type of fire pit.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll come out. We get a lot of complaints of smoke and things. And if neighbors are bothering each other, we'll ask them to put it out. And that's really the only time we come out and investigate some of these type of open burns and things like that if it's bothering some of the other neighbors. In a small community like this, you still have to be cognizant of your neighbors and your community members. And if you're bothering them because they have their window open and they can't have a bunch of smoke coming in, you still have to be aware of that kind of stuff.
Now, the new fire department, the new station there, the 41, has it got everything you wanted it to have?
Yes.
Okay.
And then some.
Oh,
Yes.
that's good. That's
Yep.
good. So it's
Very
not
blessed.
like you built it and then find, oh, we should have put this in there.
Nope, room to grow. We've got the bay is fantastic. The training tower we were able to put in there is great. We have the training room. We never have had a classroom before, a real classroom that we could use. So the training opportunities, the class where we've opened it up to the community. The community uses our training room quite a bit. We have local CPR classes twice a month that we offer to the community that they can come in and use the room. Yeah, just all kinds of great opportunities for us to reach out and allow the community to use it.
Well, one of the things I'm the historian and education director at the Harmon Museum. And it was last year many of the firefighters came over for a little class on
Yes, our tour.
what Lebanon's
Yes, it
all
was
about.
Great. Yep.
But one of the things that impressed me is they wanted to see where the furnace was. They wanted to see where the fire the extinguishers
Yep,
were.
sure.
So they sort of did an impromptu inspection
Yep.
of the museum while they were there.
Anytime we go anywhere, especially around the city, it's great to look and sightsee, but we also are trying to get down to some businesses. If we can't get into a business regularly, we try to look for fire alarm panels and escape routes and things like that for people. So.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, Dennis, Ryan, Chief, thank you for being here. Congratulations, Chief.
Thank you for having us.
It is our pleasure. And you folks have a safe and happy 4th of July, and I'll see you around town.